Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Music is a soul of food that everybody says, and yet people don't understand how it can make one spiritually blissful. Anahata Nad through music is a great contribution of India, not only to music but to psychology and psychiatry. Anahata Nada is a name given to the yogic philosophy, to the cosmic sound so called the white noise now, which is present everywhere. And you can do so without being actively involved in an active participation which is difficult to be perceived. It is from Sanskrit. Anahata means unstuck, unbeaten, and nada means to flow. Sometimes this sound is also known as unmade sound. Anahata, as I said, unstuck, or the heart chakra, is the fourth primary chakra according to Hindu yoga. Shakti and Buddhist Tantric traditions also say the same thing. Another refers to the Vedic concept of unstuck sound, the sound of the celestial realm. Anahata. Anahata is associated with balance, calmness, serenity. And the best way to achieve is music, the state of music. And Anahata, as I said, is a sound produced without touching two parts and at the same time pure, are clean, stainless, blemish, without any blemish. There is no blemish at all. And that is the beauty of it. And now the name of this chakra signifies a state of freshness that appears when we are able to become detached and look at things differently. And apparently contradictory experience of life with a state of absolute openness, transparency, and reception to the vibrations of the music. Normally, in this hectic life, we are not used to the effect produced by the confrontation of two opposite forces. At the level of Anahata Chakra appears the possibility to integrate two opposite forces and obtain the effect. And in this case, the effect is that of a sound. And that is done without the forces being confronting each other. They don't touch the two parts. And this energy is indeed specific to cooperation and integration. And this cooperation and integration of energy without touching, without, as a matter of detached, brings a new world. It brings peace. It brings you a new perspective in a world which, up to this level, was the center of force. Muldhara, Swadashna, and Manipura. And all this is made on one or less conscious confrontation between opposite forces. You know, it's a state which Milton says peace, calm of mind, all passion spent. And when you listen to a great music, close your eyes, just perceive the sound, and then you would see how peaceful it is. The name Anahata suggests, in fact, the very synergic effort and the effect of the interaction on energies at this level. Now, coming to the real concept of Anahata Nad, The ancient Tamilian Shaivite Agama tradition was among the earliest to promote that sound is even more central to consciousness than mind or matter. So this concept made about 4,000 years back has made a comeback in 1915, which I'll come to that later on. But that thing, which is the base of the peace and happiness, the state of bliss, was first given in the ancient Tamil Shaivite Agama tradition. And according to that, the primordial sound perhaps existed even prior to the mind and matter. There was no mind, there was no matter, but the word Om, that is the primordial sound. The same Om was transmuted into Ekonkar by Guru Nanak. So the idea of the Nad Brahm, Brahm is the original, gets expanded into metaphysical principle by Matanga in his classic work, Brihadeshi. Now, Brihadeshi is one of the most classic works on this subject, and that makes it all the more interesting that how come these concepts expounded in India were not practiced in a large number, and then they found votaries in the West who expounded on those theories and used this in therapy. And that makes me wonder, along with A.L. Basham, the wonder that was in has not been appreciated. Now, British proposes that the Jagat, this word, this universe, the manifest word, is essential nature, is sound. And that's why when there's cacophony, there's noise, we get unstuck. And when there's a peace, the sound is primordial, we get different. Now, this exposition of sound is at the heart of the universe. So, and what's the heart of the universe? The Parnavnada, the flow of the breath. Further expands into notion the soul is not a best principle, as in Advaita Vedanta. Now, here's the departure. According to Vedanta, soul not is an abstract thing, but here soul is living. And Sarandeva, in his definitive treatise on the music, the Sangeet Ratnankara, very clearly says that the soul of word in itself is suffused with emotions, colors, and aesthetic hues, the tints, but they are purely aesthetic. So the emotions, the colors, the shades, they mix together and create an aura of bliss, of peace. And that is where the music makes you flow in this life without any impediment. And these transcendental layers of the soul can be expressed through only music. And the practice of music is itself a spiritual practice. As a matter of listening to music and creating music, that is a yoga itself, is a spiritual experience, and it leads to realization of the self. Now, this concept, honestly speaking, has been such that nobody can deny that this is the crux of the human experience. It's another thing that we ordinarily ignore such things. And this part of yoga has not been appreciated or practiced. People think yoga is only contortion of body. No, it's a contortion, not a contortion, but it is uplifting of the soul. And in this quest for the self, through music is at the heart of the most of the work of Tyagaraja. Tyagaraja, the Nadospasna Kritis of Tyagaraja. The Nadospasna, Nado again the flow, Kritis, the work. And there he sings of the glory of the music itself. The music is a means to mukti, salvation. And it's not only mukti, it's a jivan mukti, ultimate freedom. In his Swar Raga Sudaras, he talks of the origin of nada in Muladhara. The Muladhara is the root chakra of Kundalini. People say, let's kindle the Kundalini. But the fundamental of that is music and the Swar Rag, and that is Shudra. And then Tyagaraja talks of the realization of soul. How the knowledge of this nada through music can lead to blissful realization and merging with Brahma. In his other work, Nadopashe, he refers to the divine state of Shiv, Vishnu, and Brahma as being one, which has been attained by the constant worship of Nada. So, music is not only to be listened, not only to be sung, not only to be created, but it is a matter of worship. It should be worship. And then you reach that level of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiv, the Trimurti. You merge with the God. The Godhead becomes you. As a matter of the last time when I talked, that the whole world is basically a replication of the idea of God. And that is what music does. There's another kriti by Tyagaraja, which points out that nada, swar, and pranav, the breath, the sound, and nada, they are, in fact, the sublime, the ultimate, the sublime realization of soul. And that is what music does. As a matter of fact, swar, pranav, nada are the forms of Sadashiv himself. In Andolika Rag Sudaras, Tyagaraja says, and I quote, the nectar of Nadras gives one the pleasure of yog, yajna, tyag, and bhog. So whether it is renunciation, whether it's yog, whether it's yajna, the ritual hymns, or bhog, enjoyment, merrymaking. So drink that ragas of mind and delight. So enjoy music in all the forms. As a matter of fact, Thakuraj was quite rare among musicians to write songs exclusively in respect to the music medium itself, the music itself. He made music not as a vehicle, but as the driving force. Tyagaraja was rare among the musicians. He wrote songs exclusively in respect to the music. And then he was expressing himself through that. In another kriti, he wrote, devotion associated with the nectar and the swar, notes and ragas and melodies, is itself practice and liberation. And his love for Ram is the heart of many works of Tyagaraja. Rag is the Narottam. Ram is Narottam. And that Narottam means the best of the human beings. And Tyagaraja recounts Ram's story in endearing personal terms, such as which reminds us of Valmiki, the famous Pancharatna Kritis, are mostly in praise of Ram, the Narottam, the Prashottam. And the story is set to Adital. Adital is the music of the old time, the original, and it is today sung at a samadhi. Even today, when the people, musicians, men meet at samadhi, they sing the same. And imagine he also praises Narad, the quintessential wandering musician, and he calls Narad the honeybee in the lotus of divine sound. Now, Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, writes of the music as an unconscious conscious exercise in metaphysics, where mind does not know it is philosophizing, and yet it's philosophizing. Then comes the song of Tyagaraja. And when you think in terms of what Schopenhauer says, you know that here music and metaphysics, bhakti bhav and ras are simultaneously experienced. And that's why Nadopasana yoga is presented in the Kritis as a means of experience. And that experience what transcends. And what is that? This is what is rooted in bhakti and human emotion. But even when he's saying, he sings of Shiva as the embodiment of seven musical notes, and Tyagaraja offers Naduspana as a means to strive for the silence of Anant Nad. And thus, after Schopenhauer, then came the analytical musical theory in the West. So, what this was, the postulate was converted to theory, and it refers to specific rule of practice, not just of any application of music, but it incorporated psychoanalytical practices and theories. And the British music therapist, Mary Priestley, took upon Tyagaraja's work and then converted them into AMT, analytical musical theory, to treat people. And one person who was trained directly by Priestley was Benedict B. Shebing, a Danish music therapist who, together with his colleague Ing Negard Pedersen, they can incorporate central aspects based on Tyagaraja's kritis. And then they developed the musical therapy program in early 1980s. Then they moved to USA and established a formal EMT program and the professional therapist in 2018. So this music, which now is basically used as a therapy, has been perceived 4,000 years back as a force to channelize human endeavor to achieve a state of bliss and to be happy. And that's why I always say GDP is not important, it's GDH which is more important. And if you want to enhance GDH, then the only way is music, unalloyed, unrestricted state of ecstasy which prevails. And that makes a person divine, at peace with himself and with the whole world. Anant Nad, through music, was, is, and shall remain the eternal state of ecstasy, without restriction, without impediment, and without blemish. And the sooner we realize and practice it, the better it. Thank you.